How is it going, everyone? It's Caleb here, and today, for this episode of our Halloween Marathon, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite horror games of all time, and actually my favorite of this specific franchise. We are going to be talking about Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator on the Xbox Series X. Now, I've played this on the Xbox, I've also played it on PC, I've played it on Switch. I own this on basically everything you can own it on because I love this game so much. I think I even own the mobile version of this game. This is my favorite Five Nights at Freddy's game, and there's multiple reasons for it. The main reason is that this Five Nights at Freddy's game is different in the fact that it actually lets you have your own pizzeria. And it's a very basic type of, kind of simulator, the way it works, but I still like it. I still like having my own pizzeria. I like upgrading the tables. I like putting the mini games on the floor. I like buying my own animatronics. I like all that stuff. And for that reason alone, that really helps me like this game a lot because I love being able to manage my own stuff. I've always liked management games. So I love the idea of that. But then in between the days where you're managing your franchise, your pizzeria, you also have the traditional Five Nights at Freddy's style gameplay where you are sitting in an office and you have to watch two vents beside you and make sure that none of those animatronics crawl out from those vents and get you. So I do like the way that they did the regular Five Nights at Freddy's horror nights as well, because each night you have to sit in front of this computer at the security desk, and you actually have to complete tasks. Now, the tasks are basically just clicking on one of the tasks on the computer and just waiting for the load time on the computer itself to end. That's basically all it is. But I do like that idea of it, and it's very stressful because while you're waiting, you can't really do anything else. You can't go and check your motion detectors. You can't go and use the voice decoy. You can't use the ventilation stuff. You can't really use anything while the computer is doing the task. So it puts you in a bind where you basically have to do the task, keep a lookout on both sides of you, and then as soon as the task is done, check the motion detectors, make sure nothing is coming up on you. And if something is coming up on you, that's when you shut down everything. That's when you shut down the computer. That's when you shut down the vents. It starts getting hot in there, so you have to be careful because you have a little temperature gauge, and you got to pay attention to that too. But you got to do something, because if you don't, you're gonna get got. Especially in the later nights. The later nights are very, very difficult once it starts adding more than one animatronic. Like, if you're going for the actual, true ending of this game, and you're trying to get all the animatronics gathered in one place, it's very, very difficult. So, just a heads up on that one. This game does change up the office nights as well, because it does change it up in the way that you don't really have security cameras in this one. So you can't see where they're at. You can't see exactly what room they're in at all times. You basically just have this little motion detector, and that's your best idea to see where they're at. But I've noticed that sometimes too, the motion detector just goes completely blank. And there's nothing there. So I'm guessing, I don't know exactly what that means, and maybe they're moving between rooms in that moment. I don't know. All I know is that you can't really see what they're doing in this one. You can't actually put a camera on them and look at what they're doing. You just have this one screen, and it just shows you blips of where they're at. And it kind of makes it more stressful, but in a good way. I like it. During the daytime of this game, you can actually take sponsorships in your little pizzeria as well. And the sponsorships will give you money, so you can use that money to upgrade your pizzeria, buy new animatronics, buy new arcade machines, just do stuff like that. Or you can save it and you can actually upgrade your tasks at night, so you can upgrade the speed at which those tasks are completed. However, if you take those advertisements, be warned that it will also backfire during the night shift, because when you are doing the nights and you are watching out for those animatronics and trying to complete your tasks, those ads will actually pop up on the computer and they can interrupt what you're doing, and they will make a loud noise, and basically as soon as they pop up, you have to wait 5 seconds to be able to skip it, like a freaking YouTube ad. But then you have to wait for it to be able to skip it. You skip it and then you have to turn off everything again and just wait, because things are going to be on alert, right? Those animatronics are probably going to be on alert looking for you. So keep that in mind. Yes, you can take sponsorships, get quick, easy cash, but it's really not quick and easy, because once it gets to nighttime and you have to actually do all your tasks, it's going to come back and bite you once those advertisements start popping up and you are basically screwed and you're getting more attention to your character. One of the things that I really love about this game is that it's not just about building, this cool pizzeria, and like also watching stuff throughout the night and making sure you're not going to get got by a bunch of animatronics. But there's also mini games in this. So each arcade that you put out is actually its own mini game, and they're actually really fun. I really enjoy them. One of my favorite ones is there's one where it's like you're driving a car and you're avoiding other cars, and eventually you can drive off the path of the game, and it will take you to basically this whole thing. It's still like retro looking, and it looks like an Atari game almost, but it actually will give you backgrounds and pieces of lore. And there's multiple arcade games in this that will just keep giving you lore of Five Nights at Freddy's. So if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, you're going to love all the lore that you get in this game, because a lot of these mini games, they have little pieces of lore. There's one that is like a Pac-Man clone, and it's like Fruit Maze or something like that. And when you're playing that, it gets creepier and creepier as you keep playing it. And again, it just adds more lore to the games, and it's just really, really fun. You can even put this little robot out called Candy Cadet, and you have these coins, and you have like 10 coins per night that you can use, and those are your plays. And if you keep giving him coins, you have a chance of getting a random lore story from him. And it's really interesting, and I really like that idea. And it can be very difficult to get him to tell you a story. Sometimes I've gotten it like within just like 3 tries. Sometimes it's taken me like multiple nights to just get one story from him. So it takes a while, and I think he can tell you like 3 different stories. So I like all of that stuff. I like how much lore this game gives you. I love the minigames. The minigames are actually fun. There's even like a shoot 'em up minigame that's really enjoyable that I like. Even the ball pit minigame is actually kind of enjoyable. So I like all of them. They're all very simple, but they work. They work for what this is. So I really enjoy it. And also, I gotta point out too, this game is not very expensive. Like, I'm pretty sure on PC it's free, and on console it's less than $10. So it's definitely worth picking up. It's a really, really fun game, and it's a really fun time. And if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, there's really no reason to not pick this up. Now, the last gameplay feature I want to talk about is something that happens at the end of the actual shift. After you're done taking care of the pizzeria, after you are done watching, finishing all your tasks and watching out for the animatronics, you have one other task at the end of the day. And that is called salvage. You will be brought in to this little room, and across from you will be one animatronic. And the animatronic will be pretty beat up. And it is your job to basically test the animatronic to see how it reacts to these different noises. And you basically have to try to get through this entire list and check off all of the, checks and marks off this list. And if you do it, and you do it safely, then you get paid for your salvage. Now, you can also skip this, and you can just throw the animatronic out and not have to worry about it. However, if you want to get that true ending, you're gonna have to take every single one of these in. So you have to take them in, you have to do this little noise test, and you have to watch them, because after you put down this little note, you have to make sure that they haven't moved. If they've moved, then there's a good chance that they can jump at you. And you do have a defense against this. If you see that they've moved, you can use your taser, and you can use your taser 3 times before it actually starts devaluing how much money you would get from the salvage. But if you see it move, use that taser. If you think it's moved at all, use that taser, and go back to using the audio after you've used the taser and go from there, because you don't want to take any risks, because these things can jump on you and they can get you, so watch out for that. But I really love these scenes. They're really tense, they're really fun, especially the first one. The very first one just really sets the tone for this game, and it's really enjoyable, and I love this part of the game. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's very different from the rest of the Five Nights at Freddy's games. Now, when it comes to the Xbox version of this game, it does play just fine. I mean, this isn't a very intensive game by any means, but I will say there is one issue I actually have with the Xbox version of this game, and that is that the buttons and the button mapping are not the best. It's very easy when you first get into this game and you're not used to the controls. It's very easy to accidentally just skip all of the daytime where you actually take care of the pizzeria, and just go straight into the nighttime where you actually have to, guard yourself against the animatronics and do your tasks. So it's very easy to skip that, because for some reason they mapped the skip button to the D-pad. And, I want to use the D-pad whenever I'm doing the pizzeria stuff, and I just can't. So I had to break that habit of trying to use the D-pad, Not everyone's going to be that way. A lot of people probably will just use analog stick just right from the get-go. But, whenever I'm kind of like looking at this like above view, and I don't know, I just feel more comfortable using the actual D-pad, especially when I'm in menus, right? Because even when you're in the menus and you're like trying to set down an arcade machine or something like that, I like using the D-pad in the menus, but if you press right on the D-pad in this one, it just skips right to nighttime, and you basically lose out on that day. And that's not great. So I would watch out for that one. Also, you can upgrade your machines as well, and I do like that you can upgrade your machines, and you'll probably need to. That way you can avoid lawsuits, because you can get lawsuits in this game, and that can actually take away some of your cash, and you don't want to run out of cash. Well, maybe you do, actually, because there's actually a secret ending if you do run out of cash. So maybe you do want to run out of cash. But either way, I still really enjoy this game despite its flaws. I think that is a very minor flaw in the grand scheme of things. Once you get used to it, it's not that bad. But just keep in mind, the controller layout may take you some time to get used to. And honestly, I prefer the PC version of this game just because mouse and keyboard on this game feels a lot more natural for this style of game. For this style of simulator, for this, I play a lot of like things like RTSs and stuff like that. And games like that just feel better with a mouse and keyboard. And same thing with these simulator games where you're just taking care of a bunch of things, where you have to multitask and you have to just kind of like set up things how you want and decorate them. It's like The Sims even. Like The Sims is easier to me with a mouse and keyboard, and that's kind of how this game is. I just think it plays better with a mouse and keyboard. But the Xbox version is playable, and if you want to play this game and you just are looking to play it on a console, the Xbox Series X version of it does work pretty well. It just takes some time to get used to that controller layout. But overall, I love Five Nights at Freddy's Pizzeria Simulator. I love the lore. I love the graphics. I love the look of it. I love the sound design. I love all of it. I love the new animatronics that were added in this game. Everything about this game is fantastic. I love being able to run my own pizzeria, even if you don't get to run it for that many days. And there's even cheat codes that you can activate on the console version of this game. So that's pretty cool as well. So I really like this game, and it's my favorite of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. If you love Five Nights at Freddy's, this is one that you do not want to miss out on, especially since it's free on PC. I mean, there's no better price than free. So go check out Five Nights at Freddy's. Go check out either the Xbox version or the PC version of them. They're both fantastic. This game is definitely worth your time. So go check it out. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.